Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Behind the Bulletin. Tonight, we bring you a story that has taken the entertainment world by storm, a moment so unexpected, so electrifying, that fans and insiders alike have been left utterly speechless. What began as an ordinary encounter quickly spiraled into the most talked about event of the week. Today, we dive into Park Bo-gum meets Kim So-hyun, and what happened next left everyone speechless. What sparked the sudden frenzy? What unfolded when the two stars stood face to face? And why is the industry buzzing louder than ever? Stay with us, because the truth behind this unforgettable moment is far more surprising than anyone imagined. Let's begin. It happened on a quiet afternoon that was never meant to draw attention. An ordinary filming day where the staff moved efficiently. Cameras hummed in the background, and the air carried the calm rhythm of routine. No one anticipated that within minutes, the atmosphere would shift. Energy would harden, and two of Korea's most admired stars would step into a moment so unexpected that the entire industry would freeze in place. Park Bo-gum arrived first, dressed simply, his warm smile disarming everyone he passed. Crew members greeted him with the usual excitement. He returned every greeting with that gentle sincerity he was famous for. But beneath the familiar charm rested a tension in his eyes, subtle, almost invisible unless you looked closely. He moved to his waiting room. He paused, glanced toward the entrance, then shook his head as if trying to clear a thought he couldn't shake off. Moments later, Kim So-hyun stepped through the doors. Graceful, composed, and dazzling even in casual attire. She greeted the staff politely. Yet something about her demeanor felt different that day, her steps slower, her breath slightly deeper, as if she were preparing herself for something she couldn't name. The air shifted almost instantly, like two unseen currents vibrating in the same space. The staff felt it first. A strange silence settled over the hallway, even though no one had said anything out of the ordinary. Two assistants exchanged glances. A cameraman lowered his equipment slightly, sensing an odd tension ripple through the room. The director, distracted by schedules, didn't notice it at all, at least not yet. The moment the two stars locked eyes, everything changed. Park Bo-gum had stepped out of his waiting room to greet someone when he turned, and there she was, standing not 5 steps away. Kim So-hyun froze too, her expression softening, her breath caught somewhere between surprise and disbelief. For a brief second, neither moved. The air around them felt suspended, as though time itself hesitated, unsure whether to push forward or rewind. Then it happened. So-hyun took one slow step forward, her gaze never leaving his. Park Bo-gum exhaled sharply, as if releasing a breath he didn't know he had been holding. The hallway lights flickered, not dramatically, but just enough for the staff to glance up, startled by the sudden shift in mood. It was as if the building itself sensed the gravity of the moment. "Bo-gum, is that really you?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The staff stiffened. Those words carried a weight no one expected. A few exchanged confused looks. Had they known each other this closely before? Was there a history no one had spoken about? Bo-gum swallowed, then answered softly. "I didn't think we'd meet like this again." Again. That single word detonated silently in the room. So-hyun's expression flickered with something raw, nostalgia, maybe even regret. She pressed a hand lightly against her chest as if steadying her emotions. The tension between them was no longer subtle, it was thick, electric, impossible to ignore. Before anyone could make sense of it, a stack of scripts on a nearby table suddenly toppled over. The sharp thud startled everyone, snapping them out of the moment. Assistants rushed to pick them up, but not before noticing the tremor in Kim So-hyun's hand and the tightening of Bo-gum's jaw. One staff member whispered, "What's going on between them?" No one had an answer. As more crew began to gather, the director finally walked in, confusion washing over his face at the sight of two stars standing frozen in a silence thick with meaning. He looked from one to the other, sensing something he wasn't supposed to witness. "Are you two okay?" he asked carefully. Both stars turned toward him at the same time, but neither responded immediately. Their eyes said everything, and nothing. Whatever had happened between them, whatever history that single word again hinted at, it wasn't something the cameras had ever captured or the public had ever heard. And the day was far from over. Atmosphere had changed. Something had resurfaced. Everyone present could feel that what began as a simple encounter about to unravel into something far bigger than anyone expected. The atmosphere on set grew impossibly dense. Had started as a quiet, unexpected encounter now crackled with a tension the staff didn't know how to navigate. Conversations died mid-sentence. Footsteps softened. Sound of a distant generator seemed to fade as every pair of drifted toward the two stars whose reunion felt too heavy, too charged to be casual. Park Bo-gum looked away first, making eye contact as if the weight of Kim So-hyun's gaze was too much to bear. He clenched his jaw, a faint tremor in his fingers visible to anyone close enough to notice. Meanwhile, Kim So-hyun took a slow breath, hands tightening and loosening at her sides in a rhythm that betrayed her inner turmoil. The director, trying to regain control of the slipping schedule, gestured for the crew to continue preparations. But even he couldn't fully dismiss the sense that something significant was unfolding right in front of him. "Let's begin blocking," he muttered. His voice lacked conviction. As they moved to the set, Bo-gum and So-hyun ended up standing side by side. More than either of them seemed prepared for. Their shoulders nearly brushed. Neither spoke, but the silence between them vibrated like an unspoken confession waiting to tear itself free. One assistant, nervous and curious, whispered to another, "Did they meet at an awards show years ago? Maybe that's it." The others shook their head. "No. Feels different. Like they were remembering something we're not supposed to know." The tension tightened. When the camera test began, the director called for a simple walk and stop sequence. Easy. Routine. But the moment Bo-gum stepped forward, So-hyun hesitated, as though a memory jolted through her so suddenly she wasn't ready to confront it. Bo-gum noticed her freeze instantly. "So-hyun, are you alright?" he asked softly, forgetting for a moment that dozens of people were watching. He swallowed hard. "I didn't think seeing you again would feel like this." Her voice broke on the last word. Gasps rippled quietly through the crew. Several people exchanged wide-eyed looks. It wasn't scripted. This wasn't performance. This was real. Stepped closer, not touching her but standing near enough that the air between them seemed to warm and tighten. His voice lowered, being a note of vulnerability he hadn't shown in years. Disappeared without saying anything, he said. "Was I supposed to think?" She blinked rapidly, her lashes trembling. "I had no choice." He shook his head softly. "You always had a choice." The crack in his voice sent a shiver through the staff. Felt as though the entire room had stumbled into the middle of someone else's unfinished chapter, a chapter they never expected to witness. Just then, a lighting rig above them flickered sharply, followed by a loud metallic snap. It slipped free, swinging dangerously close to the ground. Crew members shouted, diving to secure it. The sudden chaos broke the moment, but not the emotional tension. Kim So-hyun flinched at the noise, her breath catching. Park Bo-gum instinctively reached out, grabbing her arm to steady her. Contact, a simple touch, set off a shockwave across the room. Time froze. Kim So-hyun stared at his hand around her arm, eyes softening with something neither tenderness nor fear but a mix of both. Bo-gum, realizing what he'd done, slowly released her, but not before their fingers brushed in a way that made the staff collectively stop breathing. The director finally snapped. "All right, everyone take 10, he shouted, trying to regain control. "We'll reset the lights." Break only fueled more whispers. What happened between them? Did they date? Is this a fight? A reunion? Is this the moment everyone online is going to explode over? No one had answers. Not yet. Walked away first, heading toward the rooftop terrace connected to the building. Minutes later, Kim So-hyun followed. The staff pretended not to notice, but every single person felt the significance of their departure. Two stars walking into a space with no cameras, no witnesses, no distractions. Top was quiet, the city humming below them. When she arrived, Bo-gum didn't turn around immediately. Simply stared at the skyline, shoulders rising and falling with a deep breath. "So-hyun," he finally said. "Why now? Why here?" Stepped closer. "Because I couldn't avoid it forever." He exhaled shakily. "You hurt me. I know," she whispered, pricking her eyes. "And I never stopped regretting it." The wind carried their whispers, scattering them over the city that had unknowingly awaited this moment. Then, silence. A silence so heavy, so raw, that anyone who might have witnessed it would have been frozen in place. And when they finally turned to face each other, the truth, whatever it was, passed between them with a single look. Complete. Final. Unmistakable. And they returned downstairs. Something had changed. Neither spoke about what happened. Neither needed to. But everyone saw it. Their eyes. Their energy. Their sudden calm. Whatever had been left unsaid for years had finally been spoken. And that was the moment, quiet, intimate, invisible to cameras, that left everyone speechless. In the hours that followed, the set slowly returned to its usual rhythm. But nothing felt the same. The lights seemed softer. The conversations quieter. If everyone sensed they had witnessed something rare, something and unfiltered that wasn't meant for the public eye. Whatever happened between Park Bo-gum and Kim So-hyun on that rooftop, whatever truth passed between them in a single, stealing silence, left an imprint on everyone present. They didn't speak of it afterward. Didn't need to. Their eyes, their composure, the calm that replaced the earlier tension told a story all its own. A story of unresolved emotions finally settling, of old wounds finally finding closure, and of two hearts acknowledging a truth that had lingered between them for far too long. By the end of the day, after whisper rippled through the industry. Some called it a reunion, called it a reckoning. But everyone agreed on one thing: the moment they shared had left the entire set frozen in awe. And as the staff packed up for the night, understanding lingered in the air. Some encounters aren't accidents. Some emotions refuse to stay buried. Some truths only emerge when fate decides it's time. One who followed this story from the first unexpected glance to the final breathless silence, thank you. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for feeling every beat of the tension, every shock, every whisper. Thank you for joining us on this unforgettable journey between two of Korea's most captivating stars. Your curiosity, your passion, presence are what allow these stories to come alive. Stay with us on Behind the Bulletin, because the moments that change everything often happen when the cameras aren't rolling. We'll be here to uncover them with you.